Imagine this: it's midnight, your room is silent, and the blue light from your screen is the only thing that glows. You're alone, tired, maybe stressed, and you tell yourself, just a few minutes, and I'll sleep. You open a tab. You scroll. You watch. And for a few minutes, you feel something: pleasure, comfort, escape. But then, almost immediately, that satisfaction fades. You close the screen and feel empty again. Guilty. Disconnected. But why? Porn has become one of the most secret addictions in modern society. It's everywhere, accessible, private, and free. It gives instant pleasure with zero effort. But beneath that easy escape hides a deep psychological trap. It's not just about sex or curiosity, it's about control, loneliness, and the endless search for validation. Every time you watch, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical responsible for motivation and reward. But unlike natural rewards, like talking to someone you like or achieving something meaningful, porn gives you a flood of dopamine without any real effort. You didn't earn it. You didn't connect with anyone. It's just a digital illusion tricking your brain into thinking it's achieved something. Over time, this repeated cycle begins to rewire your brain. What once brought you joy, music, conversation, ambition, starts to feel dull. You crave the high that only porn can provide. And when you don't get it, you feel anxious, restless, even sad. You tell yourself it's just a harmless habit, but deep down, something feels wrong. You start losing focus. Your motivation fades. You avoid eye contact. You feel less alive. Porn doesn't just steal your time, it steals your desire to live deeply. It makes real intimacy feel boring because your brain is chasing pixels that are perfectly designed to overstimulate it. It's not your fault. You're not broken. You've simply been tricked into a system designed to keep you hooked. The worst part? Nobody talks about it. Society laughs at it, jokes about it, and normalizes it. But behind closed doors, millions are quietly battling the same emptiness. This video isn't about shame, it's about awareness. Because the first step to freedom is understanding what's really happening inside your mind. To understand porn addiction, you need to understand dopamine, the tiny chemical in your brain that drives everything you do. Every time you achieve something, eat your favorite food, or get a message from someone you like, your brain releases a small amount of dopamine. It's a natural reward system that motivates you to repeat behaviors that help you survive and thrive. But porn doesn't play by nature's rules. It hijacks that same system and floods your brain with unnatural amounts of dopamine, more than food, music, or even real intimacy ever could. In just a few clicks, your brain is exposed to hundreds of scenes, faces, and fantasies in a single session. Something that was impossible just a few decades ago. At first, it feels exciting. You think you're in control. But your brain begins to adapt. The more dopamine it receives, the less sensitive it becomes. This is called desensitization. It means that over time, you need more stimulation to feel the same level of pleasure. That's why many users escalate to more extreme content, longer sessions, or new categories. It's not because they want to, it's because their brain demands it. Meanwhile, normal life loses its flavor. Conversations feel dull. Hobbies feel meaningless. Even real relationships can't compete with the instant high of digital pleasure. Your dopamine system, once your source of motivation, now becomes your prison. And when you try to quit, your brain rebels. You feel anxious, irritable, empty. You promise to stop, but you always go back. This isn't about weakness or morality, it's about neurochemistry. Your brain isn't designed for this level of stimulation. You've trained it to expect constant novelty, constant reward. The real world can't match that. And that's why so many young men today feel lost, lazy, and emotionally disconnected. Their brains are exhausted from chasing fake highs. The good news? You can reverse it. Your brain can heal. But the first step is brutal honesty, realizing that you're trapped in a dopamine loop. And the only way out is through discomfort. Porn doesn't just change your brain, it changes your beliefs. It subtly rewires how you see people, relationships, and even yourself. At first, it seems harmless, just a fantasy, a bit of fun. But the more you consume it, the more your perception of reality begins to distort. You start to view others not as human beings, but as objects of pleasure. You subconsciously compare real partners to unrealistic expectations. You crave control and novelty instead of connection and vulnerability. You forget what it means to actually feel something genuine. Research shows that excessive porn use is linked to depression, anxiety, and social withdrawal. Users often report feeling numb to real emotions. Why? Because their brains are constantly overstimulated but emotionally starved. Porn gives the illusion of intimacy without any of the risk or effort. You don't have to talk, listen, or care. It's one-sided, safe, predictable. But that very predictability kills your ability to form authentic human bonds. Psychologically, porn becomes a coping mechanism. Feeling lonely? Watch porn. Feeling stressed? Watch porn. Feeling rejected? Watch porn. It becomes your default escape from discomfort. But like all escapes, it comes with a price. It reinforces your inability to face pain, to build resilience, to grow through real struggle. Porn also distorts your self-image. You start believing you're not enough, that you can't satisfy a real partner, or that you're somehow abnormal. The irony? The more you watch, the more insecure you become. You build walls around yourself made of shame and guilt. And eventually, you start to wonder, who am I without this? The damage isn't just chemical, it's emotional, spiritual, and existential. It isolates you from others and from yourself. You stop living, you start existing. So, how do you break free? Not by hating porn. Not by hating yourself. But by rebuilding your brain and your life. Start small. Go one day without it. Then 2. Then a week. Replace that time with something that makes you feel alive: exercise, reading, learning, connecting. The goal isn't just to quit porn, it's to retrain your dopamine system. Teach your brain to enjoy real rewards again. When you quit, the first few days will feel hellish. Your mood will crash. You'll feel restless, unmotivated, even depressed. That's your brain detoxing. Don't give up. Because right after that storm comes clarity. You start feeling energy again. Focus. Confidence. The fog starts to lift. You'll begin noticing small joys again, a song that moves you, a conversation that feels deep, a sunset that actually makes you smile. That's your brain healing. That's dopamine working the way it was meant to. And most importantly, you'll rediscover self-respect. Every time you say no, you're proving that you control your desires, not the other way around. That's real power. Porn promises pleasure but delivers emptiness. Real life promises pain but delivers growth. The choice is yours. You can live in the illusion of control, or you can walk through the discomfort of change. Remember this. Porn gives you pleasure, but steals your peace. Discipline gives you pain, but builds your freedom. Choose freedom. Here's how the trap works. You feel lonely, bored, or rejected. You watch porn for comfort. For a moment, it feels good. Then guilt kicks in. You feel weak, dirty, ashamed. You promise yourself, never again. But a few days later, the same emotions come back, and so does the urge. You give in again. That's the cycle of shame. This isn't just bad luck or lack of willpower. It's a psychological pattern of reward and punishment. Your brain uses porn to avoid pain, but porn itself becomes the cause of pain. It's a loop: pleasure followed by guilt, guilt followed by escape, escape followed by more guilt. You're stuck. And the more you fight it with shame, the deeper it gets. Because shame thrives in silence. It tells you you're alone, that no one would understand, that you're broken. But that's a lie. Millions are silently fighting the same battle, too afraid to admit it. The real power comes when you break the silence. When you stop hating yourself and start understanding yourself. Porn isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It's showing you where your pain hides, where your loneliness grows, and where your self-worth has been buried. Once you understand that, you can begin to heal. Forgive yourself. Every relapse isn't failure, it's feedback. It shows where you need strength, where you need healing, where you need connection. Healing starts not with perfection, but with compassion.